This is Common Sense Radio. Straightforward and no excuses.
All right. Come on now.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Call me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
What I said was perfectly right and spot on accurate.
Boy's got a mouth like a cannon, always shooting it all.
Stop.
Got it in me.
Stop. I mean, you're way off script.
Got it in me. Gonna quit until it all comes out.
Hey, boy!
Been a long education.
Yeah, it's not cynical. It's common sense.
Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you.
I'm gonna rock the nation. Rock the nation.
Genuine, accountable, and raw. Here is Steve Gruber.
6 after on this Free-for-All Friday. Welcome to it, my friends. If you'd like to join the conversation, 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. This portion of the program, Hour 3, brought to you in part by Consumers Mutual Insurance. Consumers Mutual, a different kind of insurance company, a co-op. It's the insurance company I chose for myself and my family. Check it out. Trust me, these guys have been great. They've been in Michigan only a couple of years, but they have been great. Service is outstanding. Consumers Mutual Insurance. You can find out more at consumersmutual.org. Now, fall in Michigan is by far the greatest place you can be. I mean, it just is. Fall in Michigan it just cannot be beat. September and October into November, this is just a spectacular place. With that in mind, I've laid out a couple of challenges for you, the listeners, to go to the Facebook page of the Steve Gruber Show. Number one, there's a challenge on there for the best Halloween costume. So that's coming up next week, of course. So your very best Halloween costume, put it up there. Whoever the winners, will have you here on the program, talk about why you came up with the idea you came up with, so on and so forth. A lot of applicants on there, or entries or whatever already. Plus, I want to see your best pictures of fall colors here in Michigan. I mean, the very best you can come up with. We did some videos yesterday. Ivy and I did some videos of some spectacular fall colors, and we'd like to see what you have in your part of the state. So something a little bit different, because we can sit here and talk politics and everything's all day, but sometimes you have to step back, take a breath, and say, "Wow, that's a spectacular treat." The other thing about Michigan in the fall that a lot of people don't realize, it's bow season for whitetails. Some of the best fishing any time of the year in Michigan is in the fall. In fact, I had a good friend of mine tell me years ago, the best day to fish in Michigan without question is November the 15th, because everybody else is out in the woods deer hunting. He said you have the rivers and the lakes to yourself, and you can really have some great action. Now, a gentleman that I've become familiar with here in the last few days had just an amazing fishing adventure last weekend in Alcona County. Greg Gasiciel is a pharmacist who lives in Rhodes, Michigan, and he hooked into a fish that, well, it was an all-time record breaker. Smashed a 109-year-old state record for smallmouth bass, and Greg Gasiciel is on the phone with us. Greg, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, congratulations, number one. I saw pictures of that fish on Facebook, and I'm looking at that going, that is not real. I mean, it just looked, the fish is more than 2 feet long. It weighs, 9.3 pounds. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that others are saying that it's fake and that it was a doctored picture, but you can't take and duplicate something like that. It was really, really amazing to be there.
And for the record, the Department of Natural Resources here in Michigan has certified that fish's weight and length, correct?
Oh, yeah. No, that was done Monday night, and for Sunday night, Monday night, and they got it out and got it official and did their press release pretty quick.
Well, Greg, you looked in the pictures, you looked like kind of a hardcore fisherman. You look like a guy who's done it before, but walk us through the story just for a second here. You and your buddy are out fishing, from what I understand. Tell me the story. Tell me how you saw this fish when you first saw the fish. Just walk us through it a little bit. I mean, what a great story.
Yeah, my partner that I was fishing with gave me a call 3 weeks ago and said he wanted to do a tournament up there, and it was all dependent on the weather, because if the wind blows hard, you'll have waves coming over the bow of the bass boat all day. And so we waited and watched the weather, and he called me up Friday night, said we're good to go. And I said, I've been waiting, just to go out with a good friend of mine and spend a day with him. And then this fish happened just to, I was at the right place at the right time, I guess.
I guess what surprises people, I mean, Hubbard Lake, I mean, okay, it's a nice lake. It's a good-sized lake. But a fish that big just cruising around, I mean, how old is a fish like that? I mean, did the DNR give you any indication of how old they thought the fish was or why it was, why it grew to such spectacular size?
At this point, the DNR does not have any data for a fish of this weight. And I'm going to be getting them the fish after I get it mounted so that they can learn from it and try to age it. I would really like to know myself, even the sex of the fish, to see if it was a female or male. Or so yeah, not at this point. There's no data out there for the DNR to base anything on at this point.
So in effect, Greg, and we're on the phone here with Greg Gasiciel, Michigan angler, a pharmacist up there in the Rhodes area, who broke a 109-year-old record with the largest smallmouth bass ever caught in Michigan. You're donating it to science. I think that's a great story. You're going to donate this fish so the DNR can learn from it, find out why it grew so big, how old it is, and, why that particular Hubbard Lake, why that spectacular fish happened to be caught there.
Yeah, it's really, I still can't believe that this happened to me. And
it's a great story. The previous record was held by a guy named Willie Shoemaker from 1906 in Sheboygan County in Long Lake. Now, that fish that the record you beat was 27 1/4 inches long. It was a longer fish, but your fish was much fatter. Your fish was eating well. Your fish was at the smorgasbord more often at the buffet, apparently.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me about that. When you first saw the fish, did you realize, you looked down in the water, the fish is swimming around, because I had a similar event on a smallmouth bass this summer, and I saw a big fish, probably a 6-pound fish in the water, and I panicked a little bit, Greg, and I tried to horse the fish, and then my whole rod blew up. Everything broke. I lost the fish. I've been heartbroken ever since. How do you see a fish like that and not panic a little bit?
Well, when I set the hook, it felt like getting punched in the shoulder by my fishing partner. It was that hard of a jolt to my body, and I can't describe it any better than that. It was like a spinnerbait strike, and to get the fish into the boat probably took close to 15 minutes. And I never seen the fish. It never went airborne. It just dove and pulled. And at one point, I had half my line off my reel because I tried to tighten the drag. It would not. I couldn't turn the fish at all. And finally, I told my good friend Scott that I said, we got to go after this. I can't do any more. It's got me beat. And so we went after it with the trolling motor, and it wasn't until we were more over top of the fish that I was able to bring it up. And I never seen the fish. My friend had the net ready, and when he seen it next to the boat, because I couldn't, all I heard was "holy cow," and he netted it and brought it into the boat. He stood up, and he just looked at me and said, "You just broke the state record."
And Greg Gasiciel, you've been smiling ever since, my friend. Congratulations. We've got to run. What a great Michigan story. Keep smiling, keep fishing.
Genuine Michigan common sense on display every day.
I like to dream. Yes, right between the sound machine. On the cloud side, I look in the night. Any place it goes is fine.
It's 18 after, and welcome to it. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right. Let me take a moment to talk about fishing. You need to do that from time to time. You need to take a break from the serious conversations. But back to where the future is. The future of Paul Ryan being the Speaker of the House. Former Arizona Congressman Rick Renzi currently in prison for conducting a federal land swap and other things. As you watch all these politicians come and go, and you see these different things, and you wonder, can we trust the next guy? Can we trust Paul Ryan? Is he the guy we can trust this time around? I don't know. Rachael Alexander, senior editor with The Stream, joining us. Rachel, welcome to the program.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on.
So, here's Paul Ryan, a guy who apparently didn't want the job, but then when he says he does want the job, it comes with a lot of specific rules, I guess. What do you make of it?
Yeah, well, people have a misconception about what the speaker's job is. It looks like it's this, a big glamorous thing where it's all about, getting people to sign legislation. And that's not accurate. Most of what the speaker does is he flies around the country and fundraises. And so, as you heard, Paul Ryan wants to change some of the speaker rules, the rules for the whole House, so Congress can actually go home on Fridays and spend time with their family. Paul Ryan is my age, and he's got a family, and it's a thankless job. Would you want to go around the country trying to raise money? I mean, to me, it's just not appealing. So that's the inside baseball that's going on there that a lot of people don't understand.
So, so he's caught some grief for that, saying, listen, I'm willing to do this job. I'm willing to, to step up and do this because it's, nobody else seems to want to do it, or those that do want to do it, I don't know, have some baggage, I guess. So he steps up and says he wants to do it, and he catches grief. I don't know. Do you think that it's all right that he's saying family first?
Yeah, I do. I think it's terrible, how these Congress members have to go back and forth, and they don't see their families very often. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's good to put that in there. He's also put in another requirement, which is why a full House Freedom Caucus didn't endorse him, just a supermajority did. He said that he wants to remove the requirement that makes it really easy to get rid of the speaker. So he wants a little bit of job security there. And I can't blame him, because look at, what's happened to former speakers with their reputations. They can't even run for president or do anything because after a few years of that thankless job, everybody hates you.
Well, in fairness, some of the former speakers have maybe put themselves in harm's way. Denny Hastert comes to mind. Let's not excuse all bad behavior by feckless politicians.
Well, and some people think that that's how Denny Hastert got in there, because nobody wanted the job, and some people even speculated maybe there was blackmail on him. They were like, well, look, we don't want the job, so you better take it, or you're going to bring out your sordid history. Who knows, and maybe that's getting too conspiratorial, but, that's the life of the speaker.
So all right, so what do you think about him, going in? Rachel, what do you think about his chances of being successful? All right, he's getting pushback, but I guess that's the nature of politics. You get grief here and there. But what do you think? What do you think of his chances? What do you believe he might have? Can he change the narrative? I guess what I'm asking you.
I do think he can. This speaker's race, as you know, is about reforming Congress versus other things, even partisan. It's all about who's going to come in and make some major changes, and that's why the House Freedom Caucus, pushed Boehner out. That's why they didn't want McCarthy. They don't want someone who's going to go with the establishment. And the neat thing about Ryan is he appeals not only to that conservative reformer base, but he also appeals to moderates. So I have really high hopes for him. I think he's actually going to make some changes. He told the House Freedom Caucus that he would agree to almost all their other, reform changes. So, you've seen the Republicans in control of the House since 2010, but what have they done? And almost nothing. It's been gridlocked. So we're finally going to see some changes there.
Well, in fact, it's so bad. Honestly, it's so bad that the Republicans stormed to victory in November of 2014, and nothing has changed. In fact, you would think the Democrats won, based on how things have gone in 2015. Barack Obama does as he pleases, enacts legislation as he pleases. The Republicans roll over like a doormat over and over and over. And I would suggest Mitch McConnell ought to find the exit as well and use it.
Yeah, well, and I'm friends with Congressman David Schweikert, and he's given me the inside scoop here on the reformers versus the establishment. And the thing is guys like Boehner, to try to stand up to the old guard in Congress, these senators like John McCain who have been there, they're almost their entire lives, and they want to protect their little fiefdoms, they want to protect their committee chairmanships and things like that. You're taking on reputation damage. When Schweikert tried to take him on just on something small, they stripped him of his committeeship position. So So you see, that's what's been going on, and that's why there hasn't people like Boehner haven't had the guts to get anything done.
Well, and so I guess my question then becomes, it's going to take somebody with some dedication and some focus, and well, it's going to take somebody with a pair to get it done, and it's just Paul Ryan the guy.
My gut instinct is he really is. I mean, think about everyone in Congress and who else could do it. I mean, you've got a lot of these, very partisan conservatives that just are going to alienate the moderates. I mean, I've heard today that there's 2 more committees that are going to come out and endorse Ryan. He brings in the centrists, he brings in the moderates. Hardly anybody else could do that. I mean, I'm a conservative, and I really like Ryan. The Tea Party really likes Ryan. I mean, if anybody can pull it off, it's him.
All right, well, and I guess that's what we're going to have to find out. Rachel, I greatly appreciate your time. You go have a great weekend, my friend.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Rachael Alexander, everybody, senior editor with The Stream. You can find her online, of course. You can also find her from time to time right here on The Steve Gruber Show.
Michigan, born and raised with Midwestern values and Michigan common sense.
Never before have I turned on you. You look too good to me. Your beady eyes they can cut me in two, and I just can't let you be. But it's a free for all, and a heart I said you can bet your life. Stakes are high, and so am I. It's in the air tonight.
All righty, Charlie Brown. It's 33 after on a free-for-all Friday. Charlie Brown would be proud at the moment. That's because our next guest here on the program, Mark Clementz, from Holly, is ready to raffle off a pumpkin that weighs 1,317 pounds. 1,317 pounds to benefit the Camp for Kids. He grew this giant pumpkin right here, not too far from where I'm sitting. Mark, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you. Small little typo there. The pumpkin weighs 1,734 pounds. The largest pumpkin grown in Michigan this year.
1730. Our record keeping here. I apologize for the oversight of 400 pounds. I'll be talking to our producer, and Rob, that is, and correcting his math. But holy cow, 1730. I mean, you're almost at a ton. How do you, okay, Mark, all kidding aside, how did you get the thing to a scale?
Well, with a big John Deere tractor, and like an 85 horsepower John Deere tractor, 4-wheel drive, mean machine, loaded it up.
And did you have to giant straps around it? I mean, how do you move such a thing?
Yeah, they make a special device. It's a steel ring with these cargo straps. They're like big tow straps that you use to tow a vehicle. There's multiple straps that hang down off the steel ring with a loop in the bottom, and we run a rope through that, and we actually carry it. It's kind of like a crane or a cherry picker, and it carries the pumpkin. It's quite clever, actually.
So let me get this right, Mark. You have a device, a special piece of equipment that attaches to your John Deere tractor that's built and designed solely for the purpose of moving giant pumpkins.
Yes. That device costs $300. Yeah.
Well worth it. So I'm gonna take a crazy guess here, Mark. This is not your first giant pumpkin. This is not your first visit to the pumpkin patch.
This is not my first rodeo. No, it's not. Last year I grew a pumpkin that weighed 1,947 pounds, which is the Michigan state record.
Oh, so you must be a little disappointed this year.
Yeah, we had a lot of clouds. I'm not really disappointed because my pumpkin is so orange and so beautiful. It's probably one of the prettiest pumpkins on the planet. It's 41st in the world this year weight-wise, but it's probably in the top 2 or 3 for being a pretty pumpkin.
And one of the most beautiful pumpkins in the world, and probably a pumpkin it's so large you could probably be seen from space.
Oh, yeah, there's hot air balloons that fly over my property, and I can see them hundreds of feet in the air, and I'm thinking, I wonder what this looks like from up there in a hot air balloon. It must look like one big orange dot, All
right, so I've got to know, and you're probably not going to tell me, but I really want to know. What's your secret? How do you grow pumpkins that big? Do you keep your seeds year to year so you have the same strain of seeds every year? Do you start new? What's your fertilizer? What's your secret, Mark? Come on.
Well, my secret is I feed the pumpkins small dogs and children. I have a very quiet neighborhood.
Don't mess with Mad Mark the Pumpkin Man.
I actually have been cross-pollinating some of the best seeds in the world for the last several years and come up with this big, beautiful orange genetics. I've taken a seed, the 2009 Wallace world record from 2012, cross-pollinated that back into a boulder. They call them a boulder pumpkin that went extremely heavy. And I've come up with this great cross. But I also have my own line of fertilizers I'm working on, Mark's Mixes, and it's just daily care, good genetics, and you do need sunshine. And some years we don't get that. This was a cloudy summer, but hey, I'm loving it. I enjoy it. It's my passion. All
right, so there you have it. So you've got a mad scientist laboratory in your basement somewhere where you're cross-pollinating and deviously making pumpkins for the future, and you will break 2,000 pounds at some point, I'm going to guess. But for this year, you're going to raffle off this giant pumpkin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I decided this year I come up with a great idea to donate this pumpkin to a charity called the Spirit of Alexandria Foundation out of the Brighton area, and they work with the Howell Nature Center in Livingston County to send kids to camp at the Howell Nature Center, and we're raffling off the pumpkin and using the proceeds to send kids to camp. There's usually 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders that go to camp. They spend 5 days at the camp. The cost is typically $300 for the 5-day camp, and I'm going to try to send as many kids to camp as I can.
That's a great little plan you've got there, Mark. That's a great way to go about that. Here's my question, of course. If somebody buys your pumpkin or whatever and they actually want to take it home, how are we going to do that? We can put it in the pickup. The pickup truck will be riding on its rims if you put a 2,000-pound pumpkin in the back end.
No, I will deliver the pumpkin to your house, business, church, or school, wherever you like. I will deliver it. When you're done with it, you call me a week or 10 days later, tell me it's starting to decay after you have the biggest jack-o'-lantern in the state of Michigan. I will come back, and I will remove the pumpkin from your property.
Mark, you need to cheer up a little bit. Because you need to cheer up a little bit. I can see that you're just not a fun fellow to be around. I can just see that you're trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what do you do for a day job? Obviously, growing pumpkins doesn't pay the bills. What do you do normally?
I have a handyman service. I'm a licensed contractor in Michigan, and I do remodeling and handyman service.
And then you become the mad scientist of pumpkins, Mad Mark the Pumpkin Man.
Yes, I tell my customers, a lot of my customers in the summertime, I tell them, hey, I don't start till 10 a.m. I have pumpkins to take care of. If you're not good with that, please don't hire me because I will be here at 10 a.m. and I'm typically, by 5 o'clock, I'm out of here. I have to go back home and care for the pumpkins. Yeah.
So this really is taking care of the pumpkins takes hours and hours and hours. This is a serious undertaking.
Oh, they need daily care, but my pumpkins get better care than my children.
Well, look at your kids. You look what they've done. I'm just joking.
I got great kids. My daughter, they're all grown up and doing good.
Yeah, I'm just joking with you. So, okay, if somebody wants to get in on having the world's giant jack-o'-lantern, the world record jack-o'-lantern, how do they get in on this raffle?
Actually, I'm driving around. I'll be at Spicer's Orchard on Clyde Road in Fenton this Saturday and Sunday. I will also be Saturday night from 6 to 9. I'll be at the Howell. Howell's having the event this weekend with over 15,000 people in Howell. I don't want to mispronounce what the event's called. It's the Spooktacular Howell. Anyways, they have a big event downtown.
So you're driving around with this giant pumpkin in your truck?
I have it on a trailer. I'm driving it around. This big sign on the sign says, "Win this pumpkin." I've taken it around to several different events. I've been to Frankenmuth. I've been to the Vassar Pumpkin Roll. It's the Pumpkins on Tour, statewide tour.
Who'd have thought that? Pumpkins on Tour. I mean, I don't think people think of such things. Mark Clementz, what a great story. Another great Michigan thing. I greatly appreciate it. Best of luck with your 1,734-pound pumpkin. I won't slight it twice. And someday soon, a 2,000-pound pumpkin from the science of Mark Clementz. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. They can also go to worldwidegiantgrowers.com and see how to purchase tickets there.
WorldwideGiantGrowers.com. Check it out, my friends. It's a free-for-all Friday, heading for Halloween, excuse me. Thanksgiving is next. Halloween first. We'll be right back.
The Steve Gruber Show. American values with Midwestern common sense.
I think I told you this here not too long ago. You know, because we're kind of on a roll here. Listen, we've been talking about heavy stuff all week. So now I'm onto this whole Michigan theme and fall in Michigan. So just, bear with me. We had Greg Gasiciel here who, broke a 109-year-old record with a 9.5-pound smallmouth bass. We had a guy, Mark, that was just on with us, grew a pumpkin over 1,700 pounds, which is small by comparison to the one that he grew last year that was 1,900 pounds. He was only 50 pounds short of having a 1-ton pumpkin. The 1-ton club for pumpkins, and it's so while we're going down this road and the weather's absolutely perfect, you drive around Michigan, and I don't know where this idea began, but it's been kind of growing ever since, no pun intended. That is the idea of corn mazes. I've got some people, like Ivy's sister, would not go on a corn maze for any reason because she still has this idea that children of the corn are going to come out and get her, which is not so far off when you go to the Trail of Terror at the best corn maze, and a friend of mine runs a corn maze. His name's Mark Benjamin, and he's a farmer in the Weberville area of Michigan, and he has the best corn maze. And he's on the phone with me to tell me about, fall fun in the corn maze and the Trail of Terror and everything else. Mark, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Well, I know from years past, corn mazes, and I don't know where this whole thing evolved from. It's probably a couple of hundred years old, truthfully. But you have taken this very seriously for many years, and every one of your corn mazes oftentimes has had a Michigan theme. And this year, you make these grand designs on graph paper, I guess, and then you implement it into the corn. The way you make your maze. First of all, how do you make a corn maze? How big is it? You say it's the best maze. Why is it the best? How big is it? Tell me about it.
Well, it's 20 acres. The reason we call it best maze is because customers told us to call it that. We grade our trails, so even when it rains, it's not muddy. And we design it so the maze flow is the best around. It's not a boring block-style pattern maze. It's not long dead ends. It's the maze flow design that makes it the best.
And every year you have a theme. Every year you have a theme of what the maze is. So if you flew over the thing with an airplane, you would see a picture, right?
Correct. Now we've
so what is the theme this year?
Michigan theme a couple times. This year it's King Tut. And you'll see the golden face death mask of King Tut in a pyramid out there this year.
So how do you arrive at these things, Mark? How do you come up with your ideas of this year? I think it'll be neat to do X.
I just try to come up with something that I think people would find interesting. And after 15 years, it's getting hard to come up with something new every year now.
Well, but you keep doing it, and your maze. I mean, I was out there. Ivy and I were out there on the Trail of Terror. I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and the place is absolutely packed. It looks like a great time. Everybody's having a good time. They're drinking cider from Michigan, having Michigan donuts, running around in a corn maze, which seems to me like a very Michigan sort of thing. I don't know if corn mazes exist in other parts of the country, but I see them from time to time around here. Plus, yours, like you said, 15 years that I've been familiar with the one you have here.
Yeah, they're all over. They're started out west. I did my own 30 years ago as a kid that I just played in. Oh, I never dreamed I'd be making them big for the public, but now we are. I think
it's one of those things
that's important to realize is we have a maze that's not scary, and on the other side of the field is the Trail of Terror. You do not have to be scared to go through the corn maze. That's
right.
A big thing people are afraid of.
So you can do either or both, which oftentimes you have people that do both. They get a combo ticket and they do the Trail of Terror, then they do the corn maze. But what I like about the corn maze is, I mean, in this day and age, Mark, you can appreciate this. There are not a lot of things that families can do together that are perfectly safe and perfectly good, and nobody's going to be offended, no dirty words, except for me when I get confused for the third time potentially. But as a general rule, no dirty words and perfectly family friendly.
Now, I got to correct you in one thing. You said confused for the third time. That was just for the first section, though, right?
Mark.
Not the whole maze.
Mark, you don't have to tell everybody.
Yeah,
you don't have to tell everybody.
Family. What's nice, another reason this is Best Maze is we have towers out there. So when you do get lost, you can ask for help if you want it. Or if little Billy runs off from you, you tell us what he's wearing, and we can spot him and get him back to his parents. No problem.
You can snare him. You can snare little Billy.
Yes, we can.
That's very good. All right. So, yeah, obviously it's a limited season for you. You run for what, 4, 5, 6 weeks every fall. And obviously with Halloween coming close, it's been a pretty good fall overall. You had some wet weather there, but overall it's been pretty decent weather. Today looks like another pretty perfect day to be at the corn maze.
Yeah, today will be perfect to come out tonight. Tomorrow's looking a little iffy during the day, but the rain is supposed to be out of here by tomorrow night. And even if it rains during the day, our trails will be in perfect condition tomorrow night.
And I think it's a great Michigan.
November 1st, so there's only 2 more weekends left.
There you go. All right, Mark. Well, hats off to you. I know it's a lot of fun for you. It's a labor of love, but it's also it's just a cool thing for the community and where these corn mazes are. Support the local guys because it's just one way that the farmers are contributing and giving back as well. It's kind of a farming thing. Bestmaze.com, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Mark, always a pleasure, my friend.
Okay. See you later.
They have it. Bestmaze.com. Check it out. And I'm telling you, Ivy and I went out there and ran around and had some good fun with it. And she was scared to death. She was. I wasn't. I was brave. She was scared, but her sister would go nowhere near a corn maze. She really thinks that the children of the corn would come, stomping out to drag her kicking and screaming back into some, I don't know, dark place, I guess. Hey, I just think it's a good Michigan thing. So just kind of, it's one of the last great weekends for Michigan stuff. Is fall is going to make way to winter here shortly. I guess my advice to you is get out there, enjoy some of these things. Whether it's enjoying a pumpkin patch or an orchard where the apples are, some fresh Michigan cider, maybe a donut, or go fishing like Greg Gasiciel did. I'm not sure you're going to break a 100-year-old record, but you can get out there and enjoy it. It's Free for All Friday. It's been a good one. The phone number here, if you'd like to join us, 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. We'll be right back to wrap things up.